It's showtime. That's what StreamYard says. It says it's showtime. So it's showtime for tonight's special episode of the Onward Podcast and this live broadcast. I'm excited to bring you tonight Miss Donjette Gilmore. Before I do, let me play our intro video. We are live. One day at a time, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Onward Podcast. So the Onward Podcast is all about facing adversity, moving forward, and discovering ourselves along the way. So considering that that's what the podcast is about, why would I have somebody from the Navy here to talk about public-private partnership reviews and the status of military housing? And that's because the Navy, and I think it was all the services, had a very public situation a few years back where it was clear that there needed to be more oversight in housing. And Miss Gilmore was appointed into that position to a new position to take over that role. So I'm going to add her to the stream. Welcome, Miss Gilmore.
Thank you. I'm honored and humbled to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. I mean, I used to go to stand-up meetings with you in the Undersecretary of the Navy's office way back when I used to work for the military, and I felt like, and I think it was me that I never really had time to talk with you or to get to know you, and probably part of it was because my office was at the Navy Yard, and I was always going back and forth, Navy Yard, Pentagon. But was your office over at the Navy Yard too? Sorry, I don't have any excuses. We could have gone for lunch or whatever, but the Emily back then was busy and accomplishing. And in hindsight, I can tell you, I was staying busy in order to avoid some of my feelings that I had over things that had happened in my life that I've talked about on the Onward Podcast. It was not conscious that I was doing that. And I just really wanted to do a good job. And I just felt like I didn't have the time. If I could go back, I would do things differently, but I can't. And so now I get to know you. We had a really good conversation a month or so ago when you contacted me and wanted to be on this podcast. So I'm grateful that you're here.
Well, yes, I recall you reaching out to me about 2 years ago, and I told you, I said, not yet.
Yeah. So do you want to be my guest? And yeah. So I'm just going to read a little bit about your bio here. Miss Donjette Gilmore assumed the duties of the Executive Director of the Office of Public-Private Partnership, Audit Level Reviews on 28 October 2019. And that office is charged with leading the efforts for conducting recurring, independent, objective, and timely audits within the Department of the Navy, which includes the Navy and the Marine Corps. And your portfolio includes the Department of Navy's 42 privatized military family housing projects phases with 62,000 units and 2 bachelor housing projects with 6,000 units worth around $10 billion. And under your leadership, that office's efforts are reviewing each project's status as well as trends, risks, opportunities across the privatized portfolio to protect the Department of Navy investment and ensure that the sailors, Marines, and their families have quality housing. Right? That's what you, excuse me? Absolutely. So what was the adversity the Navy was facing that caused the Navy to create this position? Because this position that you are filling now wasn't in place until you filled it.
Well, all of the services were facing the exact same congressional and media scrutiny. There were numerous ads out there, information negative about the condition of the family housing. And you know how media takes off on things. One of the things about the Navy is that this is unique. The audit reports from GAO, DODIG, all of the oversight organizations said that DOD had taken their eyes off the ball. They were not providing oversight. And lo and behold, they created this unique office. There's no other office like it in the Department of Defense, the first ever. And like they normally do, they set it up with no resources.
Put you in the office, but you didn't, when you say resources, you didn't have like a team and budget.
Correct. No budget. Still don't have a budget. But when I went over, I told them, I said, well, I need people. Can't do it alone. So they gave me 3 billets. Well, anyone that knows anything about auditors, it normally takes a team of 6 to 8 people. I had diligently put together the whole strategic plan, put together the vision statement, and when I went over, they said, no, you get a total of 4 billets.
4 billets. And you knew something about auditing because in your previous job, you were, what was your role? You were the acting Auditor General of the Navy, and you were also the Deputy Auditor General of the Navy.
Correct.
So you knew something about why you needed people.
Yes. And also, if we go back to when I actually started my career, I started with Air Force Audit Agency, GS7 auditor.
GS7 auditor, and now you are an SES Tier 3, like the equivalent of about a 3-star admiral.
Yeah.
From a GS7.
Yes, yes. Had a great mentor, someone who believed in me and took a chance on me.
That's awesome.
I still keep in touch with him too.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
Can you say his name, or would anyone know?
I will say it. He is not on any social media. His name is Mr. James Darling. He's retired and he lives in a retirement community out in Southern California. And
Did he work for the Navy at the time?
No, he's Army.
Army,
Okay.
okay.
Air Force Audit Agency.
Air Force.
And he was the office chief at Scott Air Force Base. And he did some phenomenal things. He hired females, and he hired a female that looked like me.
Wow.
I was the first one, and he supported me, and he told me, he said, you're going to have some challenges that the other auditors won't have. And I thought, what challenges will I have? I'm going to go in every day and I'm going to give it 100%, be creative, work hard, and deliver results. He says, when it happens, my door is open. And he was right.
Wow.
And he supported me 100%. And he told me, he said, one day you'll be an SES. I had no idea what an SES was. I was a GS7.
That's all.
And still in college.
He believed in you, and I think that's what we all need sometimes, is somebody to believe in us, even when maybe we don't believe in ourselves or don't even know enough about where we're headed to believe in ourselves. So I want to get into that too in the interview, but let's talk about the housing. So, I mean, things were happening with the housing, like people that lived in the housing were posting pictures online of the mold and stuff like that was in their houses, right? I mean, that's what I mean when I say this was like a really public adversity.
Yes, it was. It was out in the media. There were hearings on the Hill, and everyone was aware. And of course, these are sailors, Marines, and their families. You want safe, quality, well-maintained housing for them. And you also wanted to ensure that the partners could support this over the long haul. These are 50-year business operating agreements.
Yeah. So I think it used to be that the federal government, I don't know if they built the housing or the Navy, but the Navy kind of maintained the housing and stuff, right? Then the Navy contracted out for that. So you have a partnership agreement with a company that builds and maintains the housing.
Absolutely.
And
Now,
the Navy's supposed to be overseeing it for the services. Okay.
and in the Army and the Air Force
As well.
as well. Yes.
Hmm. So it's a 50-year agreement, and what I'm sure there was maybe some finger pointing as to who is responsible for the mold and stuff like that. But the bottom line is you were tasked to set up an office to come in and do what?
Basically, we come in and we have an agreement to look at all of the partners' financial statements and determine, based on our analysis, whether they will be able to continue long term to provide safe, quality, well maintained housing for our sailors and Marines and their families. And this, in and of itself, is a significant feat because we have to look at their financial statements. And this is private data.
Yeah.
Something that you normally wouldn't have access to. And we are very meticulous and careful that none of that information is released because they have shown trust in us. It's a trust that we've built with them that once they share that data with us and we do the analysis, that all that information will remain within the Department of the Navy and not be publicized.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been working very well. There hasn't been any data breaches. And we also work very close with NAVFAC System Command and CINC.
Yeah. So the Naval Facilities Engineering Command, and then the Chief of Naval Installations.
Correct.
And so it's a lot of coordinating with other organizations and sharing your findings with the companies that are in charge of the housing, right? The partnership companies, and working together to solve the problem.
Correct.
Yeah. You've got here, someone said it's LinkedIn user. I can't tell who it is, but wow, fantastic. Congratulations. I know that was about you moving up in your career, where you started and where you ended up. And then someone said Miss Gilmore is an awesome leader and believes in the growth of her people. Yes, and we are going to talk about that because we know that she didn't do this by herself, and she created, someone else said when there's a will, there's a way. And that's something that we're going to talk about because you created opportunities without a budget for other people to come in and support this effort. So, yeah.
And I can't wait to talk about them.
I know.
I have a phenomenal team. They have the organizations that have allowed us to tap into these fabulous resources. I thank them every day. And that's the other part with overcoming adversity is we had to be creative. No budget. So how are we going to get resources?
Yeah.
We established a professional development rotational program. Now, what's important about that is that the individuals come in and they work for a certain amount of time at no cost to the Navy.
Right.
And the benefit for the organization is that their individuals and their staff get diversification of their experience. They do analytics. They interact with very senior level people, and they get to do things that they don't do in their normal position. So it's a win-win.
So it's a win-win. Yeah.
And the other win is that when they're rotating back, these individuals are going back to the Army, the the other service audit agencies. And they're taking back the skill sets they've learned how to do oversight of public-private partnership military family housing. We had one individual that went back to Army, and she is doing the new work over at Army and their new stand-up that she was doing with us because she
Oh, wow.
had experience.
So for somebody who doesn't quite get what we're talking about, so your office, Ms. Gilmore's office, is in the Pentagon, and you were asked, or I don't know if it's in the Pentagon, but it's at that level, right? Maybe you're at the Navy Yard, but you're up in the Washington D.C. area and at high level headquarters, charged with oversight. You don't have any budget for to do these audits, and so you're not going to be able to go out and do all of them. So you need staff. So you got creative and said, let me get some people to rotate. So you advertise it, and then somebody from the Army, maybe out in the field, that hasn't worked at the Pentagon before, hasn't had the experience at the level where you are. Uh-oh, what happened?
I'm not sure.
I know, I'm here. All of a sudden my stream, or you keep talking, Donjette.
Okay. Well, I tell you, the other win is that the financial management career field requires that we have the DoD financial management certification level 1, 2, and 3. So this rotational experience counts toward that certification. So that's another. That's a. Yeah, some of the most incredible people to come over. They're ingenious. They think outside the box. And I want to tell you what my original 3 people who came over, and they were also management director reassigned. They call themselves the PPPR Angels. And the passion, the dedication, and the hard work that they've exhibited. One of them has 40 years experience. Another one has 16 years, and the other one has 20. And that's my original cadre of people. But I have other ones who've come over from Army, like Ron Prather. He has 29 years of experience in this area. And he's just been fantastic. And they are doing things that you just couldn't even imagine that could be done. And I love the title Angels because they are so passionate and so caring about the military personnel. When they saw it advertised out on the DoD FM Learn website, OSD has a website, and we put it out there, we got just tremendous interest in it. And everyone that's coming over, they're not just doing it for the experience that they can get. They're doing it because they care about our military personnel. And it just doesn't get any better than that.
Something.
One of the things, too, that we have done that I think is great, one of my people received the Spirit of Service Award, and that was signed by the Secretary of Defense, General Austin, and that was presented to her on the 20th of September by the Assistant Secretary of the Navy, who's also performing the duties of the Undersecretary of the Navy, and her name is Miss Meredith Berger. She was confirmed back in August, but she's also dual-hatted, and we had the great pleasure and honor of her presenting those awards on behalf of Secretary Austin. And we continue to raise the bar. The creativity and the dedication and the commitment of the team is second to none. Like I said, one of the individuals that went back, her name is Amy. She's with Army, and she was recognized as Employee of the Month when she returned. And I thought that was just fantastic, that they're getting this type of recognition. And they're not doing it for the recognition because, they're doing it because they care. And you know something I learned in life, that if you find something that you love and you prepare yourself for it, you'll never work a day in your life. Never.
I do not know.
Well, this is adversity, so we can overcome this. Do you want me to continue to speak? I'll share with you the one of the most urgent things that we can do, and when we're asked the question is, what are you doing for others? The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said that. And I hail from the South, from Montgomery, Alabama. So I know how important it is to help other people. And the work that we're doing certainly helps others. It's about duty, honor, and our country. And I have a favorite saying that I say to my staff, my angels, I call them. The best is yet to come. But we continue every day to go in and give our very best. And it's something that we have to do. It's not an option. And I'm the type of person, I don't leave anything to chance. My staff will always tell me, they say, well, you don't leave anything to chance, but you got to give us time to do it. You want things done immediately. But I work, and we're very flexible. We work together. My door is always open, and I listen, and I look for opportunities to encourage my staff. And we make unexpected connections, things that we have to do. People don't always realize that we're there, but we make changes, but we don't. Our values don't change. If something goes wrong, we make a mistake, we learn from it, and we try again. And we lead by example. We model behaviors, It's about integrity and excellence. And I'm always looking for ways to network with other because my whole philosophy is that you identify, recruit, train, and develop new leaders. And at the end of the day, those with the most and the best leaders are the ones who win. You have to be authentic. You walk the talk. You be genuine and consistent. And, those are the things. I protect my people from danger, but I expose them to reality. And with the team that I have, they come from all different organizations. Miss Sheila Hawks, she's with the Defense Contract Management Agency. She was with us from August to November. Miss Amy Havorka, she was the Army Audit Agency. We had Brian Hunter. He was with us for a while. And Ronald Prather and Brad Schaefer, and that was our first round. So you can see the interest that we've gotten in helping other people. And now we have Miss Shelley Eversole from DCAA. She's with us now. And our second round included Amy Toa from DCMA and Arthur Noyes.
I fixed it. I don't know what was going on, Donjette. And somebody sent a private chat, said, excellent. Claudia said, excellent job adjusting and adapting to the technical issues, because I have no idea what happened, but I think we demonstrated. We demonstrated how you overcome adversity, how you just stay calm and you go with the flow.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, and somebody else said, she is in the Pentagon and maneuvers the E-ring with grace. Yeah, the E-ring is where all the big wigs are, and she does. I know Donjette does that. So I think it's awesome that you created these rotational opportunities for people to grow and also to get your task done. And I wanted to share your website, because when I look at your website, and the viewers can go look at it when they have time, you see just tons of pictures of recognizing your employees on there.
Yes, absolutely. I think your greatest asset are your people.
Mm-hmm.
You hear people say that,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes you don't see them execute it. And whether it's an award or recognition or encouragement, it's important. And it doesn't always have to be monetary.
No, just a thank you too.
Thank you.
How did you handle the pressure? Because there's a lot of pressure in the job that you have, and getting all the audits done and not enough budget. And how do you handle the stress and the pressure?
I am the type of person who does the next thing. I'm very structured and organized. I'm a morning person. And for example, this morning I was up at 3 a.m.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a morning person. So, I mean, like, how many hours a day do you work then?
Oh my God. It's not work.
Okay.
It's not work. When you see it as work, then you are stressed. But if you see it as a calling, my career to me was something that I decided when I was in 11th grade. I took a course and I thought, accounting, this is something I really enjoy I like this. And I'm probably one of the few people who went into college and put down my major as accounting and finance and economics. And I didn't change it the whole time I was in college. And that's the area that I've worked in my whole career.
Yeah, your whole career. So
it's a passion. It's a calling. And that's a underlying spiritual thing for me too. Whenever you have a calling, there's a purpose, and you pour everything that you have into that. And
well, yeah, I get that, because that's what I do with my coaching business and my podcast. And how do people find how did you find your calling? Or did you, how did you find it? How'd you know?
It was, I was in a class in the 11th grade at Robert E. Lee, and it was accounting and bookkeeping. It was a bookkeeping class. And I needed it for credits to graduate. And you're going through and you're picking out things. And the homework and everything, it just fit my personality.
That's awesome.
In most people, there are a few extroverts, but most introverts, they get joy and excitement from getting the right answer.
Yeah.
And they also get joy and excitement from doing it alone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that worked for me, and went to Auburn University and put it down, and that's what it was.
That's what it was. So you wanted to, when we were talking about the title for this episode, I wanted to have it be a title that people could, really understand that we were talking about the public-private partnership. And you also had a title called Still I Rise. Why did you want to name it that? That's a poem by Maya Angelou, but why did you want to name the episode that?
That resonates with me. Um, it's the epitome of commitment, dedication, and passion. No matter what obstacle uh, you're faced with, you keep pushing, you keep moving forward. You don't stop because there are obstacles. Those obstacles only come to make you strong. And it's difficult, but I've learned in life that you're either coming out of adversity, you're facing it, or you're going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you go through something, it prepares you for something else. And what happened here with being moved over, I look back over my career, and uh, there are a lot of things that I was the first. And and some of them were uncomfortable, but going to the schools that I went to, they prepared me for being the first at Air Force Audit Agency.
The
And
first, what? First.
well, first African American
Mm-hmm.
female,
Female.
yes. And the same way when I was in college, and I remember when I was at Robert E. Lee High School, I was generally the only one in the class.
Where was that high school?
Montgomery, Alabama.
Alabama.
Mhm.
And then you went to Auburn.
Yes. And then to Washington University in St. Louis. That's where I got my MBA. And it was a lot of times you're the only one in the class. Uh, and I remember when I was at Wash U, uh, they, they had just started the the MBA program, and you could go at night. Well, I was working full time, so that worked out for me. But there were only two, and the other gentleman, he was from I think South Africa. But it was a 60 semester hour program, and I got through it working full time. The Air Force was kind enough to not require me to travel on Fridays, so I could be back for the courses. And I got through with that.
So what do you want to talk about some of the challenges of being the first, like what it was like?
I'll have to go back to my great grandmother with that. I was raised by her, and she taught me discreetly that it's to your advantage when people underestimate you. And I was always underestimated. And they they have a tendency to categorize you as a certain way, or and she always told me, she said, baby, anything that you want to do, you can achieve it. You just have to work hard, and you have to be persistent. You have to be creative, and remember that there's a greater power than any power that you're having to interact with. And she was very quiet, unassuming person, and I have a I have a story about her. Uh, she marched with Dr. Martin Luther King,
That's amazing.
and if you come in my house, there are pictures of her everywhere. Even as we're sitting here now, she's looking and smiling at me.
Mhm.
And the inspiration from that is just unbelievable. Uh, you have no idea how much inspiration and courage that she built into me. Uh, I was raised by her, and she has always been loving to the rest of my family. Some of my family is listening tonight, and they'll tell you the same thing. She was just love, four-letter word, love. And one of the things she taught me is that you have to love everyone, no matter what. It's required, and treat everybody with dignity and respect. And that's those are some of the first. I was inducted into the Hall of Fame 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, at Robert E. Lee High School, a school that was not welcoming when I went there in the 10th grade. But like
That
I said, still I rise.
What do you think? Why do you think your grandmother knew that and had that confidence and was able to tell you you can do whatever? What gave her that confidence?
I believe it came from her journey. And she shared her life's journey with me and the others in the family. And she did it to build us up. She was raised in out in the country on a farm, and uh, her mother, who I also have a picture of that she shared, uh, taught her how to be independent and how to be strong and how to believe in herself and know that anything that you can dream, you can achieve. And that's something that just passes from one generation to the next.
Mhm.
Uh, my great grandmother was a free slave. They wouldn't even discuss where they came from, what they did, nothing like that. But they overcame the adversity.
Mhm.
They knew how to do it. They still treated everyone with dignity and respect, and they still loved everyone. Um, my great grandmother didn't have a house note because she knew how to handle her money. That's probably another reason why I got into accounting, because I knew every expense that she had. And when she finished with that, and when I started working, my first job was with St. Jude Hospital in Montgomery. And I think it's so ironic because I know what they do now. We would help with them, getting money, and donations. That was what I did at Montgomery Community Action. But the thing that she did was she said, okay, we've spent all the money. Says, now this is what you have to do. You have to have so much money to ride the bus. You have to have money for food. You got to have money to help pay the bills. And you have to put out aside a tenth to give the church. And I think, well, what's left? You figure it out. She says, but those are the things that have to be done. And oh, by the way, your bill is the water bill.
Wow.
those are all of the things that she instilled in me. And when you have someone like that's loving and caring, and you know,
Yeah.
you can't help but to grow from that.
Yeah. What a blessing. And, because sometimes a lot of parents or even grandparents don't really talk to their kids about finances.
Oh, she did.
And she did. She taught you
Yes,
at a young age.
yes, she did.
So, wow. So I think that poem, Still I Rise, I can see why you wanted to have that as the title.
Yeah.
And um,
And she got to meet General Colin Powell in Ohio. It was a beautiful moment for us. He had just written the first book, and we went to the book signing, and she wanted to go, and that was significant because she was in her 90s, and for us to stand in line, but she understood the importance and recognized him. And of course, we lost a great leader.
yes,
A wonderful,
yes, we did this week.
yes.
Do you were looking? Do you have a picture of her that
Yes.
you would show?
Yes.
I knew it.
She,
Aw, yeah, it's counterintuitive where you have to move the screen.
okay.
Aw, she's beautiful.
Yes, she is.
She's with you now. She's watching over you. She's like, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. She's a blessing. And
So one of the listeners commented prayer, and I think that was around the time when I asked, "How do you do it?" And I think church plays a big role in your life.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I still have the robe that she made that I was baptized in.
So how do you, with these lessons that you've learned in life from your grandmother? I don't think you have children, right? It could be. Do you have children? How do you pass it on to the people that work for you?
I I give them the same love and encouragement that was given to me.
Yeah.
Um,
And telling them they can do anything that they want to achieve, and then helping create opportunities for them, like the rotational opportunities and things like that. You're a wonderful leader.
well, it's them too. They have they're filled with so much potential, and there's so many opportunities out here. Next week we're having a huge mentoring program. October 27th is National Mentoring Day, and whenever they ask me to participate, I immediately participate because there's so many opportunities out here, and it's like I said earlier. The whole job is to identify, recruit, train, and develop new leaders. And to me, if you're going to have a race, whoever has the most leaders at the end wins. And I talk to them, and I tell them today we had, we call it Clapback Friday. That's where they get to say anything they want within reason. And it's just we have fun, but we have serious moments, and I hope that they feel that they can share their situations. These have been some very challenging times.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you took over this job in October of 2019, and it's a tough job, no budget, no people to help, and a very public issue. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit.
And guess what? Where we were, the first individual died in the building where we were. And we were immediately told to vacate. One of my employees, for HIPAA reasons. I can't say who it was, but they had to go to the hospital because they had come in contact with this individual. It was a very scary time. But you know what my team did? We were supposed to go and travel. We pivoted and they became creative and they came up with ideas of how we could do the same level of technical analysis without having to go to the locations. The individuals, we were the first ones that created the truly 100% telework environment. The individuals that I mentioned earlier that came from the other services, they're out in California, they're out in Texas, they're down in Norfolk. What we did was we acquired Navy resources, the laptops, and we mailed it to them. And they were so grateful. There were some of them that had to drive 3 or 4 hours to get to a Navy facility so NMCI could, do what they needed to do.
Yeah, let me explain that for people who don't know about working for the Navy. But if you work for the Army, you cannot use an Army computer to access Navy stuff, right? You've got to have a computer that's on the Navy Marine Corps intranet. And so that's why you had to mail them those computers and everything, just because of the security. Yeah.
But you see how much they just pivoted and they came up with, this is how we can do it.
How we can, instead of like, oh, we can't do any more audits. We're just going to have to let this. They just came up with a solution. That's how you face adversity, right? If there's a problem, there's a solution.
Absolutely.
You just got to figure it out.
Absolutely. And give them the opportunity to huddle and put their heads together and come back with a solution.
Yeah.
And they do. And they just wow you every time. So I'm blessed to have the team that I have. And I tell all of the ones that come in and do the rotation, once an angel, always an angel.
So you have a whole team of angels.
Yes, I do.
So let me ask a question though, because one of the things, so you got up at 3 this morning, you work it's not work, but you perform this service. But, how do you handle it? Like, some people get a little frustrated when their boss is up early, sending them emails. You know what I mean? Like the expectations. How do you handle those expectations that you're giving your employees and make sure that they have time for their families and self-care and things like that? How do you do that as a leader?
Well, I take copious notes. Here they are.
Uh-huh.
And I won't send them anything early in the morning.
I see. So you might be up at 3 doing something, and then you're like, oh, I need to ask Claudia this question, but you don't send her the email right away.
Right. And you're right. You have to recognize that there has to be a balance.
Mm-hmm.
They've got children who are in school. They can't take them, earlier because of everything that's going on. I know the times. The children apparently know who I am because they made comments. Oh, is that Miss Gilmore on the phone? I said, what do I tell these children? But whatever they need to do, I'm flexibility and teamwork. That's the way I see it. There's no one that's ever asked me about taking off that it hasn't been approved. We just backfill, get it done, and that's the way you do it. And that way you keep the team intact, you keep morale as high as you possibly can, and then we still get the mission done. It's mission first, but people always.
Oh, I love that. And I think this is one of your, somebody that works with you says she's very conscious of our personal time and family.
Yes, I don't call them on the weekends. I don't do any of that. It's you know, I let them balance their lives.
Yeah.
I have a hierarchy. You know, it's God, family, job, and amazingly, when you allow them to do what they need to do and don't make them feel guilty about doing it, boy, it's amazing how much gets done.
Yep. Yep. Um, what so what would you recommend to somebody? Because there's a lot of people leaving jobs, getting new jobs, someone coming into a new job like you kind of just did, it's high visibility, um, full of adversity. What are some things that they should think about as they approach a job like that?
My recommendation is for me and for them, is this something that you have a passion for? Do you see it as a calling? Too many times you have a career, but you don't consider it a calling. If it's a calling, there's a purpose. If it's giving and helping others or achieving the goals of the organization. Because if you don't do something that you feel connected with, you're not going to be there long. It just doesn't happen. You'll be looking for something very soon. And I mentor a lot of people, and I send them things, I share with them based on things that they've said to me. And then when they make the decision, I said, now they asked me and said, well, what do you think? I said, oh no. I said, you've been offered the position, and you have to determine whether it's a good fit for you.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it's whether you feel like it's a calling.
That's really good advice, because I'm coaching somebody now who uh, got a job offer, and this person's like, normally would be like, ooh, they want me. This is a good job. Let me go for it. Okay. But instead, this person said, I want to really contemplate it. I'm going to get back to you in a week. And really laid out the pros and cons, didn't just go for, yeah, I want that, without even knowing if they really did, or without even knowing what the job, exactly everything that the job entailed and all that. And I was really proud of my client. And another thing that I would share is, I feel like I joined the Navy, working for the Navy when I was 18. I decided to go to the Naval Academy, right? And then I got into contracting. And I am not like you, Miss Gilmore. I do not like numbers and auditing and keeping like meticulous detail of numbers. No, I don't like it. And in contracting, I had to do these spreadsheets and stuff. And I was stressed and I felt anxiety. And I thought, now looking back, I thought that that's how work is. That's what, if you have a job, work is stressful. This was some limiting beliefs that I had. Then I moved into small business as a director of small business for the Naval Air Systems Command and then for the Navy. And I enjoyed that much more, because that job required, relationships and meeting other people and public speaking and establishing a vision that, you could have some creativity in. I mean, you could kind of have creativity in contracting, but not but more so in small business, setting policy and stuff. And I really enjoyed that. And now with what I'm doing with the podcasting and the coaching people, I love it. It's not, I can wake up at 3 a.m, like you said. And looking back, I stayed with the government because that's where my retirement was. And if I had to do it all over again, I don't know that I would have done that. I think wouldn't have let that hold me back. That's another limiting belief. And that's where coaches help with, because if you really love something like how you approach your work and your calling, it's not, you don't feel that stress.
I agree with you, even though it's, the opposite of what you were wanting. It's kind of like, a lot of people want a house, but they don't want to put everything into it that's going to make it a home.
Mm-hmm.
It's different from having a house and having a home and having a career and having a calling.
Yeah.
I'm blessed.
You sure are. You sure are.
I am.
Nino, I know Nino. He says, "Hi, Miss Harmon. What an amazing podcast." Yeah, even though I don't know if you tuned in at the beginning when I was having all these technical issues, Nino, but Miss Gilmore is extraordinary. God, family, country. Our last presentation at the Office of Secretary of Defense Policy, I think that's a technology forum, innovation forum, would be of great interest to her portfolio. Please connect us. Okay, I'll connect you guys, Nino.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's about it's about the connections and building the coalitions and seeing how you can help one another to achieve the overall goal of the organization or the individual or this great country that we live in.
Yep. And when everybody is doing something that they love, and that's why I have here for my thing, create a life you love. When everyone's doing something that they love, and you have a team of people that are, like you, everyone loves it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we're human. We have our moments. And I smiled and I said, "Okay, I'm gonna let you handle that."
Yeah, definitely.
I remove myself from that. You protect your people from danger, but you expose them to reality. It's just the way things go. And like I say, I've just been blessed, 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 and I'm grateful. And I look for every opportunity to give back. And that's something I encourage other people to do too.
Mm-hmm.
Giving back. It may sound, well, that's, everybody says that. Go out and find a nonprofit. It doesn't have to be one that I support. It can be one that you feel comfortable with. Spend some time, do some research. It is so rewarding. So rewarding.
When you give back, it helps you appreciate your life. You're helping other people. It's just, yes, I agree. That is definitely rewarding. And I think a way to really notice if you're performing or your services or your calling is like the energy you feel when you think about going into the office or what you're doing every day. Are you like in contracted energy, and stress and anxiety? Or are you like, this is so fun. I love it. It's fun. And I mean, I'm not saying that you're going to feel like that every day, that it's fun. I love it. There's going to be times when it's, challenging, but for the most part, are you enjoying your life? Because we only have one life to live on this earth right now. And are you enjoying it is something that we all should be doing and feeling.
I agree with you 100%. It's all about the giving, and I have to tell you. You probably say, "Well, you're talking about that. Well, do you have an organization?" Yes, I do. Friends of Guest House.
Friends of Guest House is the organization that you support.
Right. I've been on the board of directors for 13 years, and It's an amazing program. It's about women re-entering into society from incarceration. Just a fabulous program.
Yeah. So that's got to be so rewarding, helping these, what you help them with, like how to do job interviews and different things like that.
Yes, there's a whole network of volunteers that help them with reintegrating back into society. Just things we take for granted, knowing how to work a computer, having a cell phone. Those things they didn't have access to where they were before.
Yeah.
Knowing, to get to work on time, following the rules, interacting with other people, staying away from things that are not the best for them. So, housing, all those type of things are very important. So, find something that you love and continue to do it. And that's not the only thing that I've worked with. We did housing at one point, and that shut down. And then Friends of Guest House, my pastor told me about that. And when I went over there, and it's just been a great opportunity for me to serve. It's all your whole life is about service.
Look at what Nino put. Life's most
Yes.
persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And right now, there's so many people that need our help that we can reach out and help. And when you do that, you help yourself too.
You do. You grow
Mhm.
and you love. And, new commandment, you love one another as I have loved you.
Yeah. Well, Donjette, your grandmother raised an awesome woman. And from the support you had here and all the comments about, you can tell that everybody that works with you really enjoys working with you and that you're very well respected. I already knew that. I wished I had made the time to get to know you better when we worked together in the same, in the E-ring there. But I'm honored to know you even at a more deeper level now with the conversation we had tonight, and then as well as what the conversation we had before as we were preparing for this episode.
Well, thank you, and don't knock yourself too much because you did come and ask me about doing some work, audit on some small business.
That's right, I did. That's right, I did.
You did. You reached out, so hey.
Yeah, we needed some auditing then, because people tend to think an audit is a bad thing. You want to talk about that? It's like, oh, I can't have an audit. It's bad. But it's not.
It's not. And it really isn't. It's an opportunity to identify areas for improvement so that the organization can be more efficient and effective. And we are, for the most part, individuals who are good stewards of the funds that have been entrusted to us. So there's a duty to ensure that they're being efficiently and effectively spent. And that involves testing internal controls, making sure that everything is documented, and then improving it, and then having somebody come in and check and make sure that it's operating as intended.
Yeah, because you know how it is. You do some work on your own and you think, oh, this is perfect. I'm going to send that up. And then someone finds a typo or someone finds a problem with it. I mean, we can't always see the where, if we're so knee deep into our business and the way we're running our organization, it sometimes takes an outside set of eyes to catch something that we wouldn't normally catch.
It's called a scotoma. That's exactly what it's called. You're too close to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I remember you and people on your team saying, it's okay to come and ask us for an audit. that's what we're here for.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the Onward podcast. As I was trying to figure out what the problem was, I mean, what happened is all of a sudden my internet kind of went, my screen just went away, and then I couldn't find you, but I could hear you. So I knew we were still on. So I think I must have pulled up I was on there twice, right? So I had pulled up somehow another screen and entered StreamYard that way, and not realizing I was still on it the other way. But anyway, we demonstrated, it was planned. We demonstrated right in the moment, overcoming adversity.
That's right. We did it. We did it together.
We did it together.
I got to talk more than I normally. But hopefully the rest of the team and everyone was okay with that. So it's been an awesome and great opportunity to tell you about my fantastic people.
I love that.
I love them. I love them.
If you aspire to be a leader, be like Donjette, just taking care of your people and the service that you're providing is your passion, and that makes it not a job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Working my life.
Thanks for joining us, Kenneth and Nino, and some of the other folks that commented. I can't tell from StreamYard who you were because it shows up as LinkedIn user, but I know that a lot of people that worked with Donjette, and you had said some of your family were watching. So I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. In a few months, this will also be published as a regular Onward podcast episode. So I'll share that with you when it comes out with a link where people can watch it. But also, if you're watching on, those links I gave you, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, and the YouTube, this video will be there forever. So you can just go to that link and see the video. Okay. Donjette, I'm going to put you in the green room and play my closing video, and then we'll chat for a second, and then we'll be done. And it's a happy Friday night.
Yes. And 2 days, it'll be Monday.
I know. Right. I'm just going to play the out video outro, and thank you everybody again for tuning in. I greatly appreciate you. The Onward Podcast is sponsored by Emily Harmon Coaching and Consulting. Visit my website, emilyharmon.com, to learn more about my coaching programs and how you can work with me. Let's move onward together.